So, here goes. I honestly don't recognize the game anymore. I've been playing it for 10 years, streaming it for the last 5, and I just can't do it anymore. I always thought I'd play League until I was in my 60s for fun, but the game just isn't fun anymore. These last 3 years in particular, I've seen a massive degradation in game quality, but this season, the game feels unplayable. I started tracking games, and I add a link to this so that it'll work on Reddit, and you can click and see the link. It'll actually link to this document right here. From February, so I started tracking games from February of last year, and the bad games outnumbered the good ones 3-1. Then the new season hit, and out of 127 games I tracked, only 6 qualified as good games. I'd like to add that in my 10 years playing, the first and second time I ever rage quit were in the last month. The problems making this game unplayable are: damage is way over the top and removes the strategy that I loved about team fighting. When I build tank, it isn't uncommon to see my health bar evaporate in under a second, and it is much worse when I build bruiser. This is League of Legends, not Counter-Strike. I don't like feeling like I just took a headshot from an AWP in a MOBA. This is a common complaint this season, but I really don't see Riot looking to make progress on this point. Easy solution: drop the damage across the board for all champions by 20 or 30%. This will bring back strategy to solo queue teamfights outside of who bursts the other guy down faster. If you were watching the last game we were in, this is a huge point of contention for what happened in that last game. Fully 95% of the games feel like stomps. The first 10 minutes determine the game too often. Dying early on is bad enough. You tend to lose farm and experience, but 2 corrosive elements in the game make it much worse. First is the turret plates. As often, death means losing 2 to 3 plates as well. Adding a kill or more in gold on top of the already punishing death. The second is the absurd jump in power completing a mythic first tends to bring, as once your opponent completes a mythic, you can't even attempt to trade against them until you have one as well. Again, this was absolutely showcased in the last game we were in, as once the Gragas had items and I was behind, at that point I physically couldn't trade with him. There was no way for me to trade with him at all. I will always lose that trade, no matter how well I played, no matter how badly he mangles it. It was always a losing trade. There was physically no counterplay available to me. My lane shouldn't be completely over after one death, but too frequently that one death leads to an immediate snowball for my opponent. Again, fully visible in the last game we played. Solution: besides generally lowering the power of new items released into the game, it would be nice to see turret plates not giving gold anymore. Dying is punishing enough. The jungle role is way too powerful and determines my lane, and frequently the game, more than half of the time in the first 10 minutes. The lane no longer feels like a battle of wits and strategy against my opponent, but instead which jungler would gank earlier and more frequently. This game also showcased that. I was ganked in the first 5 minutes, and then I was ganked again, and again, and again. I got dived under turret a few times, just for funsies. Happens almost every game. Sometimes I'm the lucky one and it's my allies ganking for me more than my opponents, but frequently it's not, and the game becomes miserable when that happens, just like this last game was. Like, seriously, I was talking about during that last game that we played how so many of the issues that I have with the game were visible here, and you can see it. I listed all these issues, and it's almost prophetic. I wrote this yesterday, and almost everything happened in the first game that I complain about here. It's amazing, actually. The lane no longer feels like a battle of wits and strategy against my opponent, but instead which jungle against earlier and more frequently. Solution: make it so jungle monsters actually do damage to the jungler. It's tiring to get ganked by a full health jungler before they back, but after they cleared half or more of their jungle. Graves is particularly frustrating for this. Another issue that I mentioned in that last game: healing is way over the top and makes trading and teamfighting incredibly unrewarding unless you stack healing. I couldn't actually win against this Gragas because no matter what happened, after the trade, he simply healed back all the damage I did much faster than I could do it to him. If I don't have as much healing as my opponent, trading just feels like a waste because they will heal the damage up too fast. I tried having fun by trading with the Gragas. Boy, was that a mistake. I no longer look at enemy champions to determine if I need an anti-heal item. I buy one every game because it is needed every game. Solution: make healing a tank/support stat. Get rid of all other forms of healing and replace them with shields. There's direct counterplay to shields, wait it out, but oftentimes there is no direct counterplay to healing other than getting anti-heal items, and too frequently that is not enough. There is too much mobility in the game. I like to play skill shot based champs, but it feels like I'm gimping myself doing so because of how much mobility is in champion kits and now in items. I'd love to see a global cooldown on dashes/blinks so I'd have a window of opportunity to land my skill shots between dashes/blinks. This would also have the benefit of slightly reducing the power of Flash, which is the go-to summoner for 99% of champions, despite there being 9 viable summoner spells. Bugs, bugs, bugs. Every day, I have League experience that are ruined by bugs that have been around for months or even years. I have had my character die or miss a kill/CS because of pathing issues resulting from unit collision every day I play this game. And this is an issue I can remember from most of my 10 years playing League. Every character I play also has a litany of bugs that are both recent and ancient. Let me use Zac as an example. For as long as he has had his original ultimate, pre-work, and after it was brought back, his ultimate would go on to cooldown if I died between pressing R but before the first bounce. It is so frustrating to hear Zac yell, "Let's bounce," not bounce even once, and have my ultimate go on cooldown. More recently, Zac's R was reverted, and ever since that day, there's a roughly 50% chance the fourth bounce will do literally nothing. No damage, no knockup. Just a useless animation. I can list more bugs just for Zac, but this issue isn't exclusive to Zac, as pretty much every champion in the game has numerous unresolved bugs ranging from annoying to game-breaking. For a company continually working on one game for 10 years, this is embarrassing. I'm honestly heartbroken at the state of the game right now, but for my mental health, I have to quit. And I know I'm not alone in this. Even the pro scene feels stale, as you tend to just see the same 30 champions over and over. I hope to someday come back to League, but I doubt the changes I want to see will happen anytime soon. So, in conclusion, I quit League. I'm done. I can't play this game anymore. I thought I'd be able to hold out for one more week, but after this last game, after the absolute mind-blowing frustration of this last game, I can't do it anymore. I quit. I'm done. You win, Riot. Your goal of making me quit League, you succeeded. I thought the goal for Riot was to make this game more fun, but it turns out Riot only really has 2 goals. Make as many skins as possible to rape their customers of money, or get them to quit. I stopped buying skins, so I guess the only goal they had available left was to get me to quit, and they did. I quit. So, there you go. That's the conclusion here. I'm done with League. I'm never playing it again, at least not Summoner's Rift. We're going to do some ARAMs, but I'm done with Summoner's Rift. It's not fun. And for my own mental health, and this is something I mentioned during the last game, but I'll mention it just to add a little bit more emphasis here. Yesterday, after the 3 games I played, normals I might add, not serious games, normals, I was so frustrated and angry after the games that I had a headache that lasted for hours. I mean, I don't get headaches normally. I don't remember the last time I got a headache. I think it was the last time I got sick, and since coronavirus basically made me a homebody, I haven't been sick in a very long time. So I honestly can't remember the last time I had a headache. But League gave it to me. God, it's so depressing. I genuinely thought I'd be playing this game forever, but the reality is obviously more depressing than you anticipate. So,